Now, what happens to those who commit gender-based violence acts after they serve their sentences? Ex-offender Thabo Mametse murdered his wife after he caught her cheating. Currently a pensioner, he gives motivational talks at schools about GBV and crime prevention in general. What kind of programs also are available for reducing the risk of reoffending among perpetrators, and what about the victims? Let's unpack this with the ex-offender Thabo Mametse and the Department of Correctional Services official, Dr. Zodwa Mosoma. Thank you very much to the both of you for joining us, and thank you for coming through to studio. I know this is a difficult thing to speak about even for yourself, Dr. Mametse, but I want to start with you in terms of what happened that day and what was going through your mind.
Thanks for having me, and good afternoon to everybody and your viewers. There's a lot that really happened, and if I may say, it's not something you can easily talk about. Yeah, because it brings back those memories, and it's very, very much hurting. But due to the fact that I felt that there are people, and there are still people out there who need to be taught about gender-based violence and what sufferings it can bring, to the society at large, or South Africans as people. I took it upon myself that I need to go out there, talk about it, explain to people the dangers of gender-based violence. And more so, teach people that gender-based violence can come in many forms. Some we are not even aware of, that we are abusing people. But in a way, we definitely do. Like economical, situations, stalking. People take stalking to be just stalking and with no harm to anybody. But it is a gender-based violence issue if you start stalking someone. And I really feel it was an eye-opener for me to be in prison, be sentenced and go to prison for this type of a heinous crime that I've gone through. I really still feel that I shouldn't talk about it, I shouldn't tell anybody about it. But for the simple reason that people need to be taught, people need to be made aware of GBV. Really and honestly speaking, my officials here can attest to what I'm going to tell you, that prison is no bed of roses. Prison is no place for a normal living human being. And but I want to thank them once more for turning me into the person that I am today. They made me realize that that was not the end of me and the end of life, but I still have life out of prison, and the courses that I went through while I was in prison are amazing. And it only takes a man or a woman, a very strong woman, to go there, to go through those courses, because they make you to turn out to be a better person.
So they make you face your truth and what happened. So once you realized, what you had done while going through those programs, etc., how did you feel about yourself?
To be honest with you, it took me a very long time. It took me a very long time to understand myself, and it took me a very long time to forgive myself. Probably, if I may say, I might not still have forgiven myself, but I'm working towards that. And thanks again to hard work. There is there is an organization called Hard Work which used to come to prison. The course thereof took me more than 18 months to complete. And that is where I was taught how to forgive myself before I can forgive the next person. You know, I had to work on that. I had to have a journal, and every day of my life I used to write inside my journal what I am going through, what I have gone through, and what I'm still going to go through. And to forgive myself, I'll never forget the lady by the name of Helen Andrea. She was the head of that organization. And she sat me down because every time I had to relate, I used to cry. You know, cry like a baby. Because what happened was not something that I intended to do, or something that I had planned, or something that I could foresee. But it just happened. And it really, changed my life. It really changed my life, and I used to cry all the time. I talked to people. I used to cry up until Ellen came to me, and Ellen sat me down and told me, I'll never forget those words. She said to me, Thabo, this is your life, and Thabo God gave you a life. Now, it's for you to rectify all the mistakes, all the wrongs that you have done in your life, and face up to it, and make yourself and everything about your life something better about that.
So I want to ask you about your children and the family that was affected, after that incident those years ago. How's that going now, ever since you got parole last year? Do you miss your wife also?
I'll never stop missing her. I've always missed her because she was like the apple of my eye. I loved her so much. I loved her so much, I never thought one day I could see myself in prison because of her. Maybe for something else, or which I don't even know of, because I'm this kind of a person, or I was this kind of a person.
I think you mean you didn't imagine finding yourself in prison because of your actions on her.
Exactly,
not because of her, right?
Yes, because of my actions. Because if I may say to you, I always said, and I always say, if God gave me at least a minute to think, just 1 minute to think, I wouldn't have done it. But it happened so fast. It happened so. I still cannot actually explain how it happened, but it happened. It happened.
Let me bring in Dr. Mosoma for.
If I want to, if I maybe to say come back to my, the
your
family
children,
part. Yes, I missed them so much.
Are they okay with you? Have they forgiven you?
In a way they have, because they can still talk to me, they can still relate, with me and talk about, and most of the time they will always tell me, please don't tell us about the past.
Okay.
That's what I love about them. Please, let's not talk about the past.
What happened.
Yes, and I really got a lot of support from my family. My family was very supportive, and they made me accept that I've done wrong, and I've got to face up to the consequences. And I just had to do that,
Can I ask you, sir, just to hold off 2 seconds, as well as yourself, Doctor? We just have